Amen. In the name of Jesus, we begin our Sabbath afternoon service.
奉耶稣圣名开始我们安息日下午的聚会。
Let us all rise and sing hymn 307.
我们一起唱诗307首。
Before we share the words of encouragement from the Bible, let us offer our first prayer.
在我们在用圣经的章节彼此勉励之前呢，我们要一起跪下来祷告。
And we ask God that on this blessed Sabbath day that He will edify us and encourage us through His word.
那我们求神在这个安息日呢，让他造就我们，让我们学习他的道理。
Let us all kneel down and pray.
我们一起跪下祷告。
Greetings of peace and joy to all the brothers and sisters.
各位弟兄平安。
For today's mutual encouragement, I'd like to share the topic of Jehoshaphat, will of God or man.
那我们今天要彼此勉励的题目是约沙法王是神还是人的旨意呢？
We know that in life we can often become anxious.
那我们知道在我们生命当中都会有忧虑的时候，
We can worry about this, worry about that.
我们可能会担心这个担心那个。
Very recently, that's probably the state of mind I have been in sometimes.
那这就是我最近有时候会有的这个状态。
Recently, I lost my job, and so it's been a time of trying to find a new job.
那我最近丢了我的工作，所以呢要找新的工作。
And so, spending a lot of time at home, you get to see the other half, how anxious they can become too.
那你待在家里，你就看到你的另外一半呢就会有一些忧愁。
Whether it's cooking the meal or for the day, or cooking or taking care of the children.
不论是在煮饭的事上，或是在照顾小孩的事上，
It really reminds us that there are many things we sometimes worry about.
那的确就让我想到，这世上有很多事情会让我们忧虑的。
Of course, we need to understand what is anxiety.
那我们要先来了解这个忧愁是什么呢？
And this can be described as a feeling of that nothing is quite settled.
那就是一种对未来呢不确定的那种感觉。
So when circumstances have changed and we are not used to it, we may feel anxious.
那如果有什么事情突然发生，我们不太习惯的呢，我们就会开始来忧虑。
We may be concerned or even fearful of not just the present, but also the future.
就会为不单单是现在，还有为未来呢感到忧愁。
So we find that when something like that sticks in our mind, it finds that it can easily start to affect our life.
那当我们的脑袋中有一种忧虑的感觉出来的时候呢，就会来影响我们的生活。
We know in Proverbs actually describes this quite well. Proverbs chapter 12.
我们看箴言12章怎么讲？
Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25.
箴言12章25节。
Anxiety in the heart of man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. Here it talks about how anxiety can affect the heart of a man.
那这里告诉我们，这一个忧虑的事情呢，会怎么影响人的心？
This version uses the word depression. Other versions describe it as it can weigh down on a man's heart.
那这个忧虑呢，也可能会让人家的心，然后就会沉下来。
So we find that when we become anxious, we are affected by our thoughts.
那我们忧虑的时候呢，这种想法就会影响我们。
We worry about the present,
我们会忧虑现在，
the pain we feel at the moment.
就是我们现在想有一些痛苦的事情。
And when we think ahead, we feel that the future is just more pain.
那我们又想到未来，我们想说更多的就是更多痛苦的事情会发生。
We find that when we are faced with anxiety, we usually we're looking for a solution to the problem.
所以当我们遇到忧虑的事情，我们在想找办法来解决。
So the question today I'd like to share is whether we lean on the will of God or impose our own human will to solve such problems.
所以我们今天要谈的就是呢，我们到底在解决的事上呢，是依靠神的旨意，还是用人的方式想来解决？
Of course, without even needing to speak the sermon, we know what the answer should be.
我们当然知道，我不用说这个正确答案应该是什么。
But of course, we need constant reminding, encouragement of what it should be all the time.
那我们需要来常常被提醒呢，到底应该要怎么做才是正确的？
So for today, we will look at this character of King Jehoshaphat,
那我们今天就来看这个约沙法王，
of how he dealt with situations in his life.
然后看他在遇到生活上的这些问题之后，他怎么来解决的。
If we turn to the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 17.
我们看历代志下17章，
2 Chronicles, chapter 17, verse 1 and verse 2.
历代志下17章1到2节。
Then Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his place and strengthened himself against Israel. Verse 2. And he placed troops in all fortified cities of Judah and set garrisons in the land of Judah, in the cities of Ephraim which Asa his father had taken.
节，亚撒的儿子约沙法接续他做王，奋勇自强，防备以色列人，安置军兵在犹大一切坚固城里，又安置防兵在犹大地和他父亚撒所得以法莲的城邑中。
We see that this is the beginning of the reign of King Jehoshaphat.
那这里可以看到，这个约沙法王开始做王。
We know him as a good king.
那我们知道他是一个好王。
But we see that he made mistakes in his life.
可是呢，他在生活上呢做了一个错误的事。
We know that he was born during a time when the kingdom of Israel and Judah, there were two kingdoms.
那他是出生在这个以色列分裂成北朝跟南朝的时代。
So between this northern and southern kingdom was wars, was constant fighting.
然后这个北朝跟南朝呢是常常有战争的事情发生。
And even the surrounding nations would also wage war against the northern and the southern kingdom.
不单如此呢，其他这个外面的国呢也会来攻打他们。
We see in verse 3 that the Lord was with Jehoshaphat because he walked in the former ways of his father David. He did not seek the Baals.
我们看第3节，神与约沙法同在，因为他行他主大卫出行的道，不寻求巴力。
And we see that because he had walked in the ways of God, God delighted. We see in verse 5, the Lord established the kingdom in his hand.
我们知道呢，因为他行神眼中看为正的道呢，神就喜悦。然后呢，第5节，所以呢，神坚定他的国。
So as king of Judah, he was. It says here he was also bestowed on riches and honor in abundance.
所以呢，他是这个犹大的王，然后大有尊荣之财。
But we see that actually he was still, there were things that still made him anxious.
可是呢，他还是有忧虑的事情。
If we turn to 1 Kings chapter 16.
我们看历代志上、列王记上16
1
章。
Kings chapter 16, verse 29.
列王记上16章29节。
In the 38th year of Asa king of Judah, Ahab the son of Omri became king of Israel. And Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. Now Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord more than all who were before him.
29节，犹大王亚撒38年，暗利的儿子亚哈登基做了以色列王。暗利的儿子亚哈在撒玛利亚做以色列王22年。暗利的儿子亚哈行神眼中看为恶的事，比他以前的列王更甚。
And if we keep on reading, this passage talks about how this was the description of King Ahab, the evil king of Israel.
那你如果继续读下去，就可以看到这个以色列王亚哈做了多么这么罪恶的事情。
We find that during such time of prosperity for Jehoshaphat, he arranged a marriage between his son and the daughter of King Ahab.
那他虽然这个亚哈王呢是这么的这个繁盛，可是呢，他安排他儿子跟亚哈王的女儿来结婚。
Now we find that usually noble people marrying another noble people is quite normal.
我们知道这种门当户对的事情是很正常的。
Obviously, a prince marrying a princess.
就是这个公主跟王子结婚。
And we know that, of course, marrying between two kingdoms was also a very normal thing.
然后，所以那个2个国王呢来结亲呢，也是很正常的、常见的事情。
But what we see here was that this was marrying his son to the daughter of an evil king.
可是这个问题是呢，他的儿子呢嫁娶的是这个邪恶王的这个女儿。
This evil king Ahab also married Jezebel, Princess Jezebel, who we know would become a very evil queen as well.
然后这个亚哈呢，也是呢娶了这个耶喜别，是一个非常邪恶的王后。
So we might question why did he do this?
所以我们会想说，他为什么这样做呢？
Surely he had his choice or a pick of who to marry his son to.
当然他可以有这个决定权，要来决定谁来跟他儿子结婚。
We find that for many kings and queens, their hope is for the future to be prosperous.
通常这个国王呢，跟这个王后呢，他们的希望呢，就是未来能够更繁盛。
They hope that their family will continue.
他们的延续呢，这个他们的王室。
So they hope that there will be peace in their family.
然后希望这个 家庭呢能够平平安安的。
and they hope there will be peace in their kingdom.
那也希望他们的国家呢也是平平安安的。
And this is the hope for any king or queen.
那这是任何这个国王都会希望做到的。
Now we see that during the childhood of Jehoshaphat, he would have seen or heard about the many wars between the kingdoms.
所以呢，这个约沙法王他在小时候也一定听过这种这个战争的事情。
If we turn to 2 Chronicles chapter 13,
如果我们看历代志下13章
verse 17 to verse 18,
17、18节，
we see here this was his grandfather King Abijah, who fought a great war against Israel.
那这是他的祖父呢跟以色列人来战争。
And we see that Abijah and his people struck them with a great slaughter, so 500,000 choice men of Israel fell slain.
那这个亚比亚呢跟以色列人战争，然后呢以色列人死亡的精兵有50万。
And his grandfather was given the victory because, in verse 18, they relied on the Lord God of their fathers.
那那时候以色列人被制服，因为呢他们依靠神。
So we see that he would have heard about the story of this great battle.
然后他一定听过这个战争的事迹。
And then chapter 14, verse 9,
然后14章第9节，
we see that when his father Asa was king, there was another battle against the Ethiopians.
然后呢他爸爸当王的时候呢，也有跟这个古时王呢来战争。
So as a king coming to the throne, he would have known about such history.
所以呢他当王，他当然知道这些历史。
And we can see that maybe he believed that this was a time to end the wars.
然后他也相信了，到他时候呢，应该要将这个战争来结束。
For any king to hope that there will be peace in the land.
然后希望他们的国家有这个平安。
And of course, there would be fear of what the future would hold.
那当然会有一种忧虑，说未来到底会怎么样的呢？
If the land is constantly filled with fighting and people coming to plunder, then of course the future is one that is quite grim and fearful.
如果这个战争一直发生，然后一直会有国家来攻击他们，那这个未来就是不太乐观了。
So we can see that this move to ally himself to the northern kingdom was almost like a chess move to secure the future of his kingdom.
所以呢，他这个呢，亚哈到这个北朝呢，是想要来兼顾他的国家。
A move designed to, on paper, to appease everyone.
就是想要在纸上来让大家都能够来协议好，然后的和平。
To appease the nearest neighbor, the kingdom of Israel.
那跟这个以色列王，就是他们的邻居呢，能够有和平相处。
Ultimately uniting people of God who were once living under the same nation.
那也希望，因为他们以前是同一个国家，希望能够一起，然后能够合作。
And even more, a stronger, united two nations that would stand up to surrounding nations who might want to wage war.
那也更希望，因为这样跟以色列这样子来结盟呢，这样子可以让他们成为更强大的国家。
So we see that this can amount to human will.
所以呢，这个可能是人的想法。
A human solution designed to really achieve what is good intentions.
那是一个出于好意，然后呢，希望呢未来能够来成功的一个想法。
But we see, we ask, did he fulfill this wish?
那是我们来看他有没有成就这个想法呢？
If it was for peace,
如果是为了这个和平的关系，
if we turn to 2 Chronicles chapter 18,
如果看回来历代志下18章，
this passage of verse 1 to verse 34 records how after this alliance, the king of Israel, Ahab, went to war.
那就是这里18章1到34节来谈到这个他跟亚哈王来结盟之后呢，这个亚哈去参加一个战争。
So King Ahab went to war against Ramoth Gilead in verse 3.
所以呢，他去跟第3节这个基列王来征战。
And so soon after becoming in-laws, the first request to go to battle together.
所以呢，当他们那个儿子来结婚之后呢，他第一件事情就是希望他们一起来征战。
But we see that even as in-laws, King Ahab was an evil king.
那虽然这个亚哈王是个恶的王，
We see in verse 33 that verse 32 that he verse 29 that he asked King Jehoshaphat to go into battle to put on his robes, but King Ahab himself disguised himself.
那29节这里说呢，这个亚哈王对约沙法王说：“我要改装上阵，你可以能穿王服。”就是呢，亚哈王要来把自己藏起来。
And we find that actually that Jehoshaphat nearly lost his life.
那这个呢，
Jehoshaphat.
约沙法王呢，差一点那个死掉。
But we find that in the end, actually, the king of Israel, King Ahab, got his just desserts, and he was the one that was actually killed.
可是其实最终呢，看到的是亚哈王才是这个死的人。
So we find that even though his intention of peace, so soon after the alliance was drawn into this battle.
那虽然呢，他的旨意呢是想要来结盟，然后和平，可是呢，马上说到的却是来征战。
If we turn to 2 Kings chapter 3,
我们看列王记下第3章
2 Kings chapter 3, verse 5.
，3章5节。
Verse 5, But it happened when Ahab died that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. Verse 6, So King Jehoram went out of Samaria at that time and mustered all Israel. Verse 7, Then he went and sent to Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, saying, The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me to fight against Moab? So here we see that even after the in-law has died, the son now is asking for more favors.
那虽然这个亚哈死了之后呢，他的儿子呢也要来跟他请他帮忙。
Still relatives, they're next asked to help to battle against the Moabites.
那一样呢，他们要希望跟他一起去攻打摩押。
And if we read this passage, we see that in verse 8 to verse 10, we see that the armies nearly died in the wilderness because of thirst.
那如果读到8节到10节，可以看到他们的士兵呢，差一点因为没有水喝，然后没有水喝要死掉。
But by the hand of God, God delivered them through the prophet Elisha, who performed the miracle of water filling the land.
那但是呢，有神的帮助呢，借着这个先知以利沙呢，让他们有水喝。
And in the end, they had the victory.
最后呢，他们得胜了。
So we see here that there are two instances where, although his intention was to have peace,
所以呢，所以有2件事情，虽然他们的旨意是想要得和平，
but not so soon after the lines, all that he could see was wars that he was roped into.
可是呢，他们结盟之后呢，所做的事情却是征战。
These were battles or wars that had nothing to do with his kingdom.
那这是跟他们国家没有关系的战争。
But because of this marriage alliance, that he had to help.
那就是因为他们这个有婚约的结盟，他必须要来帮他们。
So though he intended for peace, but actually what came on him was nearly calamity.
虽然他寻求的是和平，可是呢，得到的却是更多的这个死亡的士兵。
Because we know ultimately God was not pleased with this marriage.
那因为呢，我们知道神呢，最终是不喜悦他这桩婚姻的。
So if this alliance did not achieve any peace,
所以这桩这个结盟呢，没有得到和平。
what about maybe achieving some wealth?
那有没有得到一些财富呢？
If we turn back to 2 Chronicles chapter 20,
那我们看回来历代志下20章
chapter 20 verse 35.
，20章35节。
So this is again Jehoshaphat allying himself with the king of Israel.
所以这是约沙法跟亚哈来交好。
Now we see that he allied himself to make ships to go to Tarshish. But we see in verse 37 that the ships were wrecked. They were not able to go to Tarshish because the Lord had destroyed his works.
那就是呢，他们合伙呢要造船前往他施，可是这个船呢却坏掉了，因为神不喜悦他们去这个地方。
So even when his intention was to achieve prosperity for his people,
所以他为的是寻求他的百姓的这个繁荣。
yet when God was not delighted, God destroyed his works.
啊，但是呢，神不喜悦呢，就来摧毁他的功。
So what about future generations?
那关于下一代的人，
We said that he would have hoped his future generations would continue his dynasty.
啊，他希望他后代呢能够接续这项功。
If we turn to chapter 21,
如果我们来看21章，
let's read verse 1.
我们看第1节。
And Jehoshaphat rested with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. Then Jehoram his son reigned in his place. Verse 2.
2节，
He had his brothers, the sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariah, Jehiel, Zechariah, a lot of names. Verse 3 and verse
3
4.
节、4节。
Then we see verse 4. Now when Jehoram was established over the kingdom of his father, he strengthened himself and killed all his brothers with the sword, and also others of the princes of Israel. So here we see that this king Jehoshaphat, after he died, his son became the king.
所以呢，约沙法王死了之后呢，他的儿子接续他做王，
So King Jehoram reigned in his place.
然后就是这个约兰王接续。
Yet we see that his action was to kill all his brothers and all the princes of Israel.
啊，可是他做法呢是用刀杀了他的众兄弟，还有以色列的首领。
So we see that the original purpose of King Jehoshaphat was for peace and prosperity.
所以呢，这个约沙法王的旨意呢是要得平和平，然后还有这个繁盛。
Yet what came to his family was destruction.
可是看到他的家庭呢，到后面却是毁灭的。
We actually see that in verse 3 that their father gave them gifts of silver and gold and precious things with fortified cities in Judah.
那这里看到他们的父亲将很多金银财宝，还有犹大地的坚固城市给他们。
So we see that the father's intention was always to give the best to his children,
所以可以看到这个爸爸呢是将最好的留给他的儿子，
to give them the gold and the silver, the fortified cities.
啊，给他们金银财宝，然后这个城墙。
And of course all this would be able to provide for a life of peace.
那这希望呢是给他们这个和平安稳的生活。
But we see that actually it wasn't that the foreign nations came to attack them.
可是你发现后来不是这个国外的这个外国的人来攻击他们，
It was actually their own brother,
而是他们自己的兄弟，
their own flesh and blood.
啊，就是这个亲生的兄弟。
Now we wonder why such calamity came onto this family.
就想说，为什么会有这样子的事情发生在他们的家庭呢？
If we keep reading,
我们继续读下来，
it says that verse 6, and he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, just as the house of Ahab had done, for he had the daughter of Ahab as a wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord.
所以6节看到他行以色列诸王的道，与亚哈家一样，因他娶了亚哈的女儿为妻，行神眼中看为恶的事。
So we see that this daughter of Ahab, the wife that was betrothed to the king of Judah, was the reason why King Jehoshaphat's son turned evil.
所以呢，这个亚哈的女儿呢，就是为什么这个约沙法的儿子呢行恶的事。
We know there's a saying like father like son, but here it is almost like daughter like mother.
那有人说那个像就是看爸爸就可以知道这个儿子什么样，可是这里看起来呢，看女儿就知道妈妈是怎么样的。
Because we know that Queen Jezebel was a very evil queen.
因为我们知道这个耶洗别是非常邪恶的王后，
And so we see that this son was corrupted because of his evil wife.
然后这个儿子呢非常的败坏，就是因为他的这个娶的妻子。
So we see that this intended marriage of to create peace and prosperity actually created such calamity for the family.
所以你可以看到这个婚姻的结盟呢，到最后呢是使这个家庭败坏的原因。
And if we read the next episode, we see 2 Kings chapter 8.
如果看回这个列王记下第8章
Chapter 8, verse 25.
，8章25节。
We see in the 12th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Asa, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, began to reign. Now, if we keep on reading, verse 27,
我们看27，
he walked in the way of the house of Ahab and did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab.
亚哈谢效法亚哈家，行神眼中看为恶的事，与亚哈家一样，因为他是亚哈家的女婿。
So even the grandson of King Jehoshaphat did evil in the sight of God.
所以呢，这个约沙法王的曾孙呢，也是行神看为恶的事。
And that was because he learned from his evil mother.
他也是学了这个邪恶的妈妈。
And if we read 2 Chronicles chapter 22,
如果
turn back to
看
2 Chronicles chapter 22.
回到历代志下22章
Verse 3 and verse 4.
3节4节，
This records that he walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, for his mother advised him to do wickedly. Therefore he did evil in the sight of the Lord like the house of Ahab, for they were all his counselors after the death of his father to his destruction. So we see that this was such a tragic chain of events.
你可以看到这个是一连续下来悲惨的事情。
Yet something well intended.
那是一开始的旨意是好的，
Yet nothing came about apart from destruction.
可是最终的结果就是毁灭。
And we know from verse 10 and verse 10 and verse 12 that Athaliah, the mother of Isaiah, arose and actually destroyed all the royal heirs of the house of Judah.
你看到10节说，亚哈谢的母亲见他的儿子死了，就起来毁灭犹大王室。
So we see that the destruction actually nearly ended with complete wipeout of the descendants of Jehoshaphat.
所以可以看到，最终的结果是他约沙法王的这个后裔几乎完全被歼灭。
We know that the promise of God was that the future king Jesus would come from the line of David.
那我们知道，神的旨意是呢，这个耶稣呢会从大卫的子孙出来。
And we see that from this passage that nearly this lineage was nearly broken because of this action of the evil woman.
结果看到这边呢，他因为这个邪恶的这个女人呢，这条线呢几乎要断掉了。
So we see that this can sometimes be really the extreme outcome of human will.
那真的是这个我们人呢，这个旨意呢最终的最坏的这种打算。
When man thinks what we are doing is right.
当我们人想什么是为正的事，
When we question our intentions pure and correct.
当我们觉得我们是行正的，然后正确的事情，
But yet when it is not the will of God and God is not pleased.
可是却不是神的旨意，神不喜悦的，
We see that it seems that nothing will go right.
我们就发现最终什么都走偏了。
In fact, here only destruction came.
然后呢，就发现呢，最终就只有这个毁灭的临到。
And a verse in Jeremiah sums this up quite nicely.
我们可以看到那个耶利米书，
Turn to book of Jeremiah chapter 10,
我们看耶利米书第10章
verse 23.
，10章23节。
O Lord, I know the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man who walks to direct his own steps.
主啊，我晓得人的道路不由自己，行路的人也不能定自己的脚步。
And it is true that we cannot alone direct our own steps.
没错，我们人呢自己没办法定自己的脚步。
It is only God that can direct our way.
只有神才能指引我们的道路。
And it is only when we turn to him and submit to his will that we can follow in the right steps.
只有当我们来顺服他的旨意呢，我们才能够走到正确的道路上。
So we've learned that the consequences of submitting to human will.
那我们也可以看到这个顺服人旨意的这个下场。
So when did Jehoshaphat rely on the will of God?
那这个约沙法王是什么时候开始来依赖神呢？
We turn back to 2 Chronicles chapter 20.
我们看回来历代志下20章，
We find that in chapter 20 records the sudden attack from the neighboring nations.
然后20章我们看到他的这个附近的这个国家呢来攻击他们。
That the nations ganged up to fight against Judah.
那这些人呢结盟在一起要来攻打犹大。
We see from just before chapter 20 in chapter 19 verse 11, we see that Jehoshaphat actually declared to the people to behave courageously and the Lord will be with the good.
那再看回来19章11节，他这个约沙法王告诉大家说要来 要来这个刚强壮胆，然后呢，神才会与你们同在。
So we see that at this time, it was not a time where he was weak in his faith to God.
那这个时候呢，他的信心不是软弱的。
It was not during a time where he was in poverty or in calamity.
还未有这个毁灭的事发生。
We know that actually during this time he was still very loyal to God.
其实，在这个时候，他对神还是非常的忠心，
He feared God
他敬畏神，
and he was still faithful to God.
也对神来忠心。
And we see that he understood that the Lord was with them.
他也明白说，神是与他们同在的。
But when we see in chapter 20 when this threat of their existence came,
可是到了20章，他这些威胁到来的时候，
when this trouble came to his kingdom,
这个国家发生的问题，
we see that he was faced with a choice.
他就面临一个抉择。
So again, he can choose to impose his own will,
同样的，他可以来屈服在他的旨意，
or he can submit to the will of God.
或是来顺服神的旨意。
Of course, we see here that he actually chose to submit to the will of God.
这里有没有看到他来选择来依靠神？
So how did he do this?
他怎么做呢？
We see in chapter 20, verse 3,
我们看20章第3节，
we see that because he was in fear of this impending attack, he set himself to seek the Lord and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah.
他因为非常惧怕呢，要寻求神，就在犹大全地宣告来禁食。
So this amounted to asking God, what shall I do next?
所以就是呢，来询问神说：“神啊，我该怎么做呢？”
We know that setting a fast to pray to God is a way to seriously show our dedication to God.
这个禁食呢是一种方式呢，表示呢我们来严肃的，然后看待，然后来寻求神。
It is a time to show that we are very serious to ask for Him for a solution.
那就是我们诚意的，然后来寻求神的旨意。
Now there was a story of a man during the Second World War.
那有一个人呢，在这个第2次世界大战的时候，
His name was Dietrich Bonhoeffer,
他叫做 Dietrich Bonhoeffer。
and he was actually a German Bible teacher and a writer.
那他是一个德国的这个
Bible teacher
就是教导圣经的老师，
and a writer.
也是个作家。
And during World War II, of course we know that Hitler was the leader.
那我们知道2次大战的时候，这个希特勒是这个领导的人。
And this Bonhoeffer did not agree with Hitler, so he was imprisoned.
他不来拒绝这个希特勒的旨意的想法呢，所以他被下到监牢。
And during that time, he wrote many letters from prison.
那时候呢，他在监牢里面写了很多信。
And of course, he did not want to be in prison.
当然他不想要在监狱里面。
But his letters wrote that he felt that not a single day was wasted.
可是他说呢，他写的信呢说呢，我在监狱里面呢，没有一天是浪费的。
He did not know what the future would hold.
他不知道未来是怎么样的。
He did not know whether he would still be living.
不知道还会不会继续活着。
But he was actually very sure that something would come from it.
可是呢，他很确定呢会有好的事发生。
So he actually wrote in one of his letters.
所以呢，他其中一封信这样说。
He wrote, "Of course, not everything that happens is the purpose of God."
当然每一件事情发生不都是神的旨意。
Then he added, "Yet nothing happens without the will of God."
可是呢，每一件事情发生都有神的旨意在里面。
So his conclusion was, even though events may be very bad,
所以他的结论就是说，虽然有些事情发生看起来很糟，
or we can't find a solution or a way out,
我们自己找不到这个方法出来，
but we know that even in such difficult circumstances, we can always find God in them.
可是即使在最糟的情况，我们还是可以在其中找到神。
And it is in trouble that we find ourselves needing to pray to God.
也是在这样的情况，才发现我们自己呢会跪下来求神。
And this is what he wrote in one of his letters.
这是他其中一封信的内容。
And I believe many of us would agree to what he wrote.
我想很多人都会同意他所写的。
And that is what we saw in King Jehoshaphat.
就是在约沙法王身上我们看到的。
Even though he was faced with such difficulty,
虽然他面对了这么多的困难，
even though he may not understand why this attack was coming.
然后他也不明白为什么会有这些攻击的事情发生。
Yet he knew that he could find God through this situation.
可是他知道他可以在这个状况当中呢来找到神。
And we see that he turned to God in prayer.
我们可以看到他在这个祷告的事上来寻求神。
And we know that when trouble brings us closer to God,
那我们知道这些困境呢、困难会让我们来更亲近神。
we will look back on it and think that it is actually something that was worthwhile.
那我们会回头看的时候，我们发现这是值得的，
Because it has drawn us closer to God.
因为它让我们更与神更亲近了。
So for King Jehoshaphat, this trouble ended up helping to improve his closeness and relationship with God through prayer.
所以那个对约沙法王来说呢，这件事情呢，让他呢来寻求神，
So this is the first thing he did.
这是他第一件做的。
The second thing we see he did in verse 6 to verse 12 was to remember God's goodness in the past.
啊，第6节到12节，他做的第二件事情就是来纪念神所做的善。
We read in verse 6 that he says, O Lord God of our fathers, are you not God in heaven, and you do not rule over all the kingdoms of the nations, and in your hand is there not power and might, so that no one is able to withstand you?
6节说：“主我们的神呐、你不是天上的神吗？你不是万邦万国的主宰吗？在你手中有大能大力，无人能抵挡你。”
So we see here that he remembers the goodness of God,
他在这里纪念了这个神的这个大能，
this goodness and this greatness of God.
啊，他的大能，他的美善，
That everything is in his hand.
就是所有的万物事情都在他的手掌中。
And this is the God that holds our life in his hand today.
啊，今天也是这个，就是这双手，然后掌握我们的生命。
So we find that sometimes when we are anxious or we feel that there is no solution,
啊，当我们落在这个忧虑、落在找不到方法的情况当中，
like Jehoshaphat, we remember that everything is in the hands of God.
我们要像约沙法王一样，我们要记住所有的一切事情都在神的手中。
We find that today that people who study the Jewish people say that the Jewish people are unique in many ways.
那有些这个研究这个犹太人的这个他们的研究，他说这个犹太人是非常特别的民族。
Say that the Jewish people actually are people that focus very much on their past,
那他们非常注重他们的历史，
very much their past and their present.
啊，他们的历史还有他们的现在。
But it is sometimes the future which troubles them
但是呢，他们却对这个未来很迷惘，
because they do not really understand how Jesus will come again.
因为他们不明白耶稣怎么能够再来。
But we know that the Jewish people, the people of God, always reminisce of their past, of how God delivered them.
啊，但是呢，这个犹太人他们常常的纪念他们神是怎么来拯救他们的。
We know that every time they sinned against God or they wandered away from God, they were reminded to think of the past.
啊，每一次呢，他们走偏了路，然后每一次犯罪得罪神，他们就是被提醒呢，要再来看他们，回头看他们的过去。
Whether it was a reminder that God parted the waters,
啊，提醒他们神将洪水分开，
how God defeated their enemies,
啊，神怎么帮他们击败敌人，
or satisfied their hunger with manna.
然后用玛瑙降下玛瑙让他们饱足。
We see that all these facts of the past are ones that remind his people of the greatness of God.
啊，所有这些事情都来提醒他们神的大能，神的帮助。
So we see that King Jehoshaphat likewise remembered this greatness of God.
啊，这个犹沙法王一样来纪念，想到这个神的大能。
So when we keep reading, we find that he acknowledges that God is in full control.
啊，他继续读下来，我们看到他明白神是掌管、能够控制一切的神。
And if he is the God,
如果他是真神，
then of course everything is in his hands that he can change.
那所有的一切在他的手中呢，他能够改变一切。
So we see that he looked back to remember all that God had done.
所以他看回过去，然后看到神所做的一切。
But we also read here that he looked up to heaven to see that this was the God in heaven.
啊，他同样呢也仰望向天，说这个就是真神。
This is the God in heaven that rules over all the kingdoms of all the nations.
这是掌管所有万物、万国、万物的真神。
So we find that sometimes when we face with anxiety, there is a lesson in humility to learn.
当我们在这个忧虑当中呢，我们要学习到这个谦卑。
We find that sometimes our problem is we feel we can just rely on ourselves to find the solution.
常常问题就是在于我们觉得我们自己能够来解决到问题。
If we turn to 1 Peter,
我们看彼得前书，
1 Peter chapter 5,
彼得前书第5章
verse 6 to verse 8.
6到8节。
Just verse 6. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Verse 7. Casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. So we see here that this lesson of humility needs to be learnt.
那我们要学习到这个谦卑。
King Jehoshaphat realized that even though he had fortified cities, he was a very blessed king, yet he had to humble himself before the Lord.
约沙法王学到呢，他虽然有这个坚固的城邑，然后有这个强大的军队，他还是要来仰望，来依靠神。
The next thing we see is we remember what is ultimately the promise of God.
第二件事情我们要记得是神的旨意，神的应许是什么？
For King Jehoshaphat, he remembered the promise of God was in verse 7.
像这个约沙法王呢，他记得神的应许在第7节。
That the land would be given to the descendants of Abraham, your friend, forever.
这个神的地呢，会给亚伯拉罕还有他的后裔。
And he believed this promise would remain forever.
他也明白说这个旨意呢，这个应许会永远存在。
And he not only trusted in this promise,
他不但相信这个应许，
he used this remembering this promise in such difficult times.
他也在这个特别这个艰难的时候来记得这个应许。
To remember that actually, even though these people would come to threaten their existence,
虽然这些外敌呢要来攻击他，
but God would not forsake his promise.
但是呢，神不会放弃他的应许。
So we see from verse 15 to verse 17 that God actually sent a messenger.
可以看到15到17节，神派了这个差使来。
Verse 15.
15节。
Listen, all you Judah and you inhabitants of Jerusalem, and you King Jehoshaphat. Thus says the Lord to you, do not be afraid nor dismayed because of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. So 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 15.
历代志下20章15节到17节。
So there are two vital things we see from this passage.
这里有2件事情我们可以看到。
We see that actually what God has promised.
看到第一个是神的应许。
And the second is where Jehoshaphat must look for this promise of God.
然后第二个是呢，这个约沙法王要在哪里看到神的应许。
So we see that God would promise that this was not a battle for them, but a battle for God.
这个神告诉他呢，这个不是他们的战争，而是是神的战争。
And that when they go to battle, they should only look up to God.
当他们出去征战的时候，要来仰望神。
Look to God for the help.
仰望神来寻求他的帮助。
So we see that this is the next thing we must do when we are seeking for the will of God.
这个就是当我们在寻求神帮助的时候要做到的。
To seek for what is it that God has promised us.
就是我们要寻求神所给我们的应许是什么。
We see that after King Jehoshaphat sought the will of God,
当看到这个约沙法王来寻求神的旨意，
and God delivered this victory,
神呢给他们这个胜利。
we see that he was thankful to God.
可以看到呢，他非常的来感谢神。
So we see that the victory was given to the people.
这个神就将这个胜利呢给他的百姓。
And in verse 26,
到26节，
we see they assembled in the valley of Beracha, for there they blessed the Lord. Therefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Beracha.
然后呢，第4日众人聚集在比拉加谷，因此那地方名叫比拉加谷。
So we see that out of impending destruction came the will of God and blessing from God.
可以看到在这些败坏之下呢，这个神的旨意呢 来到了。
So the people of God came to this valley to remember this blessing that God had given them.
然后众人都聚集在比拉加谷呢，然后来记得神给他们的帮助。
So if we recap this story, that he was faced with a threat to his kingdom, to his life.
你可以看到他这个呢王呢遇到了这个外敌，然后呢威胁到他的生命。
It started with the fear of man.
然后他是一个很害怕的人。
It started with fearing man.
他一开始是很
Fearing man.
害怕的人，很惧怕。
Fearing, like scared of the man.
很害怕这些敌人。
And now it actually became the fear of God.
可是呢，到后面呢，他得到的是敬畏神。
And we see that this blessing also came to the surrounding nations.
那也可以发现这个呢，这个祝福呢，也到了其他的国家。
We see verse 29.
我们看到29章。
And the fear of
29节
God was on all the kingdoms of those countries when they heard that the Lord had fought against the enemies of Israel. So we see here that it was not only the people of God who were blessed.
那不单单只是神的百姓得到祝福。
We see that even the non-believers, the Gentiles, could see the glory of God.
那到最后呢，这个不信的外邦呢，也看到神的荣耀。
So we see that sometimes in our life, our reaction to anxiety is actually very important.
所以呢，在我们日常生活当中呢，我们对这个忧虑的反应是很重要的。
It can actually be part of our shining for God, being salt of the world.
那有可能是一个方式，然后让我们能够在这个世上呢发光，然后为神发光。
Yes, we can think of many ways to get ourselves out of a pickle.
我们可能会想出很多方法来逃离这个问题。
We can speak to people and find ways to solve our problems.
可能会寻求人，然后来解决我们的问题。
But we find that actually when we seek the will of God,
可是呢，如果我们能够来寻求神的旨意，
when we ourselves experience God,
当我们能够来体验神，
and also let others experience what God has done for us,
然后呢，让人家也明白神对我们所做的，
we see that this can actually be a moment we glorify God.
就会发现这就是能够来荣耀神的时刻。
So today we've learned from King Jehoshaphat
所以我们今天学到了约沙法王的事，
the importance and reminder to lean on the will of God and not on the will of man.
提醒我们要来寻求神的旨意，而不是来依靠人的想法。
We remember that there were no benefits from him relying on his own human will.
我们看到他依靠自己的想法所造成的结果。
There was no peace, there was no wealth.
没有平安，没有财富。
There was near destruction of his descendants.
几乎他的后代呢都灭绝了。
And ultimately his dynasty did not survive.
到最后他就是没有能够延续他的家。
But when we see he leant on the will of God,
但是呢，看到他来寻求神旨意的时候，
we see that he was able to draw closer to God through prayer.
他能够在祷告中来与神亲近，
He was able to trust in God stronger.
他能够来强大的呢来信靠神，
He understood the nature of God
他
better.
明白呢神的特性。
And ultimately, we see that he loved God all the more.
最终呢，他看到他呢越来越来信靠，来喜爱神。
So we end with two final verses.
我们最后看2节经节，
Return to Book of Philippines,
我们看腓立比书，
chapter 4,
腓立比书第4章
verse 6 to verse 7.
6节、7节。
We are very familiar with this encouragement from Paul to Timothy.
那我们很清楚，这个是保罗写给提摩太的。
Verse 6.
第6节，
Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.
6节，应当一无挂虑，只要凡事借着祷告、祈求和感谢，将你们所要的告诉神。神所赐出人意外的平安，必在基督耶稣里保守你们的心怀意念。
So even though we are constantly reminded, we know that the message is still as simple as turning ourselves to prayer.
那我们都知道这些东西，我们知道的就是要来祷告。
And the final verse,
最后一节，
return to Proverbs,
我们看箴言，
Proverbs chapter 3,
箴言第3章，
verse 5 to verse 6.
3到6节。
Verse 5, Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Verse 6, In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
第5节，你要专心仰赖神，不可依靠自己的聪明，在你一切所行的事上都要认定他，他必指引你的路。
So whether it's seeking for a new job or troubles at home or trying to manage your family,
不论是要来找新的工作，然后来管理家庭，然后管理你的家人，
or it's exam season, or any other issues you face in your life,
不或是这个考试的问题，或者是你生活遇到的任何的困难，
let us not be anxious,
让我们不要再忧虑了，
and let us remind ourselves and remember to submit to the will of God,
然后提醒自己要来顺服神的旨意，
and He will bless us all.
他就会来祝福我
Now
们。
let's rise and sing hymn 308.
我们一起唱诗308首。I would love to tell you all I think of Jesus, since I found him in a friend so strong and true. I will tell you how he changed my life completely. It is something that no other friend could do. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me. Oh, my life was full of sin when Jesus found me. Oh, my heart was full of misery and woe. Jesus placed his strong and loving arms about me, and he led me in the way I ought to go. No one ever cared for me like Jesus. There's no other friend so kind as he. No one else could take the sin and darkness from me. Oh, how much he cared for me.
For our final prayer, there are a number of prayer requests.
我们的祷告中有几项代祷事项。
We know that Sister Wang Gamoy is still recovering.
那个王刚来姐妹还在恢复当中。
We continue to pray for Sister Sophie Lee.
继续为 Sophie Lee 姐妹祷告。
Sister Valerie, who lives near church, to pray for her.
然后Valerie 住在这个姐妹呢，住在教会附近，我们也为她代祷。
And Sister Chan Chung.
陈冲姐妹。
And of course, we continue to pray for the local church divine work.
我们也继续为伦敦教会的本地事工代祷。
And so, according to usual, we will pray 15 minutes for all of the above.
那我们会来花15分钟来为这些人来代祷。
And importantly, to pray for one another.
更重要的是要来彼此祷告。
Pray that all our families are strengthened.
让我们的家人呢都能够来增强信心。
Because we know that only when all the families in the church are strong, that we can become a strong church.
因为只有在我们教会当中的每一个人坚强起来，我们才会成为坚强的教会。
And of course, when we come to the usual end of year, we are reflective on what has gone past in the past 12 months.
同样的，到了这个年末呢，我们就会来回想我们今年所做的点点滴滴。
Let us pray that we do not just have resolutions for the sake of having resolutions, but to change our lives for the better.
我们要不单单只是来立定志向，而且要更重要要来改变，然后让我们生命过得更好。
So let us all pray, kneel down and pray.
我们一起同心祷告。
Coming home, coming home, evermore to Rome. Open wide thine arms of love, Lord, I'm coming home. Coming home, coming home, evermore to Rome. Open wide thine arms of love, Lord, I'm coming home. Amen.